LPL. This is going to be his LPL debut, so there is definitely a lot of room for error, but definitely a mechanically gifted player, definitely willing to play this current meta. So I would anticipate we probably have a faster pace of game coming out from RNG with this shift in mid laner. I am really curious what happens there. You can see the Lee Sin was banned away once again. Now, V5 did ban that game number 1 as well, so I don't think that's specifically aimed at Yukai, but certainly a good thing that he's not going to have access to that Lee Sin for the side of V5. It's going to be the Olaf first pick. It's going to be answered with the Leona, and RNG deciding what they want to go with in the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, right now, kind of the junglers that we're still seeing are a little bit of Udyr, a little bit of Volibear, but they don't do so hot against the Olaf, so we're going back towards an old school counter with the Graves coming out 4-way.
Yep, obviously you can kite out that Olaf pretty decently. Graves doing well into the Olaf, into the Trundle, into the things that used to be good a little while ago, and it feels like we are kind of coming full circle towards the, I guess it was like spring 2020 this sort of stuff was meta, if my memory serves.
Yeah.
But Rell, going to be the hover here for the side of V5. That'll be going down towards Reheal as that heavy engage support.
And that kind of feels like where Reheal is most confident is on these engaged sports. Now, obviously, meta is very much that style, and the Rell does pretty well into the Leona because there's no real way for Leona to stop the all-in versus something, say, like the Thresh, the Alistair, hell, even the Nautilus as well, because he can get the hook. So, nice timing here for Reheal to be able to pick this up. Usually gets paired with something like the Kaisa because you can play some pretty funky stuff with the Killer Instinct and the shield / the stun that can come through from the Rell. So, curious to see if they decide to go for that, but not going to be the case as we get to see the Mundo going up towards Aliez in that top side. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Akali locked in here for Xiaohu. As we saw in the top esports shooting series, you can do pretty alright as Akali into Mundo.
Yeah, before he gets to the items, you can certainly find pressure, maybe even find solo kills with that Akali on the top side. Bin was showing off his skills, but Bin had Gwen banned against him every single game. And I think if you want to go for an AP top laner, let's be real here. Gwen is just broken. Give it over to Xiaohu again. Let's see him get up to a 50% win rate.
And now the big question for V5 is, do you start to see bans towards Yukai? Because I feel like Akali gets taken off the board here. You start to see some of those other big picks like the LeBlanc gone as well, and then Yukai starts to fall down. But now you do have to be careful here because obviously you're banning away from Uniboy as well. But certainly Uniboy, there's the opportunity here to go towards something like the more supportive mid laners as well. Enable this Olaf and then get something of a I don't want to say hyper carry here in the bot lane, but something that can at least be a damage facilitator like the Ezreal, hell, even the Ziggs that's been left open this game to support this more jungle focused style for V5.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Now, I do want to quickly mention something just on the topic of Yukai, and that's that he has also played top lane across his career. He's had 2 different splits where he either played top lane or subbed for top lane. So his stats are a little bit wonky. He's got like Aatrox and a lot of Jace up towards the top half of his stats. There is a lot of top lane mixed in there, so I'm going to err away from dropping too many stats for the guy from this point on. But Gala goes with that Aphelios, which again, I think a lot of people underestimate the level of lane presence that Aphelios have, certainly in the first few levels, thanks to starting with the Calibrum and that Severin. But now V5 have to answer. I would be surprised to see a Jinx alongside a Rell, but I've seen crazier things.
Yeah, we said already, like you tend to see with stuff like the Kaisa. I think this is a better shout. The Killer Instinct and also getting that stun combo off can be super nice. She can follow up on the Rell crazy easily as well. It overall just is a pretty nice pairing. And especially when you're against something like the Aphelios, right? You're not going to fall too far behind and being shoved in or bullied around on that bot side. So Kepler and Reheal should have a bit of an easier time. Uniboy going to go back towards the Orianna. Still kind of pseudo supportive and can work very well with that Olaf. It's something that we saw a lot at the start of MSI was this Olaf Orianna combo, but we'll have to see what is going to be answered here for Yukai on that opposite side. We said the LeBlanc was the one that was not banned away between the Akali and LeBlanc, and it looks like Yukai is going to take that one for himself.
Yeah, we get to see a LeBlanc, which is a very aggressive mid laner. We get to see a bit of presence in that mid lane, which I'm excited for. But one thing I want to point out, I don't think this was shown on the English stream, but we got to see a poll from the Chinese fans on who people are supporting. And it was the most one-sided poll I have literally ever seen. It was 99.9% in favor of RNG, and it didn't get better. It's not like it was just started off with RNG. No. This was just towards the end. It just got worse and worse. 99.9% in favor of RNG right now. Dagda, talk to me about these compositions that we're seeing. What is the game plan coming in for RNG with their substitute mid lane?
I mean, you can kind of see that they've got a lot of that late game scaling, right? Aphelios in the composition, you've got the Gwen that's there as well. Graves too, means that you've got that really, really strong, 30-minute plus composition. And it feels like here for Yukai, it's definitely about being that kind of bridge to the late game. I want to see him getting active on the map early, playing through these side lanes and making sure that you're facilitating these late game scalers and trying to accelerate them just a bit.
We'll see if they can get accelerated. I'm excited for Wei on this Graves as well, man. Like, I think Wei is very, very good in the carry jungle meta. I think he showed that he can very much have a good Graves for himself. We saw that last year, but whether or not we get to see that today will be a different question. He's up against PZX, who looked decent in the start of the game, but one thing that Graves does incredibly well is punish enemy junglers. When they play wrong, when they go on the wrong side of the map, Graves will take everything from you. What did we see in the entire early game of game number 1? It was Wei punishing PZX's position on the map. So this Graves does feel like a pick that could certainly lean into that style. But we talked about the RNG composition. What do you expect to see from V5 here in terms of the game plan?
Well, I want to see PZX trying to play down towards these early bot lane skirmishes. I feel like when you've got Uniboy, you can facilitate you. You've got a strong bot lane. Look towards dragons. Look towards opportunities to get these fights and punish RNG while they're still trying to get themselves up onto their feet. And you can see already they're trying to do this. Reheal, going that sneaky path over the wall to see if you can maybe get some sort of play going early for V5, but not going to be the case.
I don't know if you saw that. One of the fans in the audience had screenshotted the draft where I couldn't even see which player it was, but someone was yawning. They just screenshotted that, and now they're just holding that as their sign in the audience. I love it. The creativity we're getting here. Uniboy and Yukai already starting off aggressively. Yukai wants to make his entrance here in the LPL.
I mean, it's a champion to do so, right? A lot of lane control, a lot of opportunities to try and punish Uniboy. And it comes down... Oh, hang on. Just Ming going for these aggressive trades. But it definitely comes down to the ability for Uniboy to correctly predict what Yukai's going to do and get the ball into the right position. Because it's kind of difficult for Uniboy where you're trying to see, okay, well, if LeBlanc goes all in on a trade, where am I trying to then move my ball to? Do I put it back towards where he's going to distort back to? Or is Yukai going to wait it out and start to walk away so he ends up out of range of this trade? So there's a lot of mind games going on between Uniboy and Yukai in this, but certainly the shield from Uniboy going to make it a little bit easier to take these aggressive trades.
Certainly a solid pick to make a big impact on your first game, but whether or not he can will be down to his support from Wei. Whether we get to see Ming roaming into the mid lane, because let's be honest, this is not a team that has played towards mid lane basically ever in recent memory. So feels like it's going to be much more about him influencing the side lanes and trying to facilitate a similar role to what we're so used to seeing from Cryin in that mid lane. But whether or not that happens is a different story. We can talk about jungle pathing a little bit here, Dagda, because you can see that PZX just finishing his first clear here. He's going for the full clear, including the Krugs, and way up on the top side. Looks like he might be doing the same.
Yeah, playing towards your strengths, right? I mean, you've got the priority here for V5, but Xiaohu has full push on top, so you should be able to guarantee yourself scuttle on opposite sides here. You will need V5's bot lane to facilitate PZX, though, just because Yukai does have control of mid, so just needs to be a little bit careful, but nothing really too crazy coming out from the junglers. It's really, I feel like, going to be off this next reset where I want to see PZX getting involved, because I think with the pathing that he has, right, you reset here, you'll take a couple of your camps, you end up back on the bottom side just as that dragon spawning in 5 minutes, and if you have Kepler and Reheal shoving this wave, they can reset for the 4-minute mark, get back down, have that bot wave pushed in for 4:45, and you just move across towards dragon at that stage.
Certainly could set up for an early dragon, and let's be honest, both of these junglers are more than happy to go for early dragons, but as you said, with V5 having the push in that bottom side, you'd feel like they'd be at the advantageous position. But we saw in game number 1 that just because a team has the advantage in terms of the composition for that, does not mean they're the ones to get those objectives. V5 stealing that one away in game number 1. We'll see if RNG will return the favor. PZX misses his undertow on his grump. Not the end of the world, but it will be spotted on that ward. That's the important factor.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, you kind of already know both as RNG and V5 where the respective junglers are. You know that you haven't been contested at either of the scuttles, so you can make that assumption as to where they are. You can see as well, PZX, just before he reset, managed to get that ward onto wayside, so full knowledge here as to where both junglers are, and only means more why V5 should be trying to look for this dragon.
Kepler taking a lot of damage in this bottom side. There's a big trade there as Yukai actually getting out-traded by Uniboy in the 1v1 here. That's one of the powers of Orianna, is being able to shield a lot of that burst from LeBlanc and able to trade it back well. So good little bit of laning here from Uniboy.
Yeah, and I mean, you're going to get the double reset coming in, so it's not going to mean too much in the grand scheme of things. And here we go. This is where we're talking about for PZX. Manages to clear down towards the bottom side and start this dragon up. You don't have control fully on this bottom side because Gala and Ming have got that wave pushed, but looks like now they should be able to come across as Wave might be looking to contest.
Way sneaking into the river here. We could see on the way pings from everyone on RNG. Ming and Gala on the blast cone. They jump straight over and just engage immediately. See ya later, PZX. Ming chasing for a little bit more, but V5 know that they can't contest this one, and RNG say, we don't care about your prio, we're just taking the Drake.
Well, that was the thing. You actually didn't have that priority in the bottom lane. Kepler and Reheal were further back, which is why Gala and Ming were free to just roam around. Now they collect the big wave that Kepler and Reheal were pushing in, and it's a bit of a disaster. I wanted to see a bit of a pause here from V5, actually get the lane in order before they committed to that, as Uniboy does use this ultimate. He just wants to crash this wave. I mean, look at the size of it. He gets a free back here and now can make his way back in towards mid lane. But yeah, we're going to look at the replay here. Look at where Kepler is right now. Like, he's got to clear out that wave. It's about to crash into his turret. So this is a 3v2 right now. And when you got Gala and Ming in the perfect position to just jump onto PZX, you're not really able to make that. So nice read from RNG, but unfortunately Kepler and Reheal not actually positioning that wave correctly to go for this setup.
This feels a little bit more like what we're used to from V5. Game number 1, we got to see a very exciting amount of coordination from V5. I was feeling positive about what we were getting to see from the team in game number 1. We saw them contesting together to get the steal and the fight for the first Drake. This time around, it is the exact opposite way. But unfortunately for V5, it's because of their own lack of coordination as opposed to RNG just being masterminds. Although RNG do play it very well, a little bit disappointing from the side of V5 when they were the ones with the advantage this time around to lose out on that Drake. And now it's a different story to game number 1, because this time RNG are ahead in gold like they were in game number 1, but this time they're also ahead in kills and they're also ahead in objectives. So there is no silver lining for V5.
Yeah, and in terms of composition as well, right? We just said, hey, look, RNG, they're the ones with the later game scaling. They got a Gwen, they got Gala on the Aphelios. Like, they're fine as long as these objectives aren't like running into V5's favor and they can fight off of kind of the 2 items where Kepler and PZX would be super strong. Uniboy being able to facilitate this Olaf as well in these kind of mid-jungle 2v2s, but right now it's RNG that have control, pushing in bot. You have Xiaohu, who's just been slowly pushing in these top waves, getting to chip away at this top lane turret as well. And when you're looking towards a Rift Herald, which is just about to spawn, you can have Gala and Ming move over first towards this top side if you really want to.
We'll see what's going to happen as we continue.
As I
throughout
think
this game here
himself,
is
or we've completely lost
RNG currently ahead on terms of play, and Wei is going to abuse that fact as he moves up towards this Rift Herald. We'll see if he's going to be able to go for that one, or whether we get some full contention here from V5 on the play. You can see both bot lanes starting to move up. Uniboy in position. Yukai, though, going to try and stop his entry into the river. Going to be a route onto Uniboy, who will be denied. He's just going to play bouncer for this one as Xiaohu moves down as well. And RNG, this time uncontested, will get themselves that Rift Herald.
Yeah, and look, you already got that massive lead for Xiaohu in that top lane, so he's perfectly fine to move over. Yukai doing a good job shoving mid, so well played by RNG now to get both of these early objectives, making it really tough for V5 to have an avenue to push the advantage in their favor. Like, you're not going to be able to get these early turret plays, not really having these fights at the dragons go your way either, so RNG buying time, gold, and accelerating the game for themselves while keeping V5 on the back foot.
I actually can't hear what Rob is saying as he's muted his mic on our communication channel. So I would bounce off you there, mate. I promise I would usually, but I can't hear you right now. It will be some plates taken on the bottom side in favor of Gala and Ming. They'll be able to get themselves an extra bit of gold. We get the Herald going over, get the Drake going over. It feels like everything is going fine and dandy for RNG, just picking everything up that they want across the entire map. And V5, unfortunately, a little bit absent in this game so far, just leaving a lot to be desired. But I will say they do have some scaling back there. Let's talk quickly about scaling for V5, because hey, they've got a Kaisa that scales well. They've got a Mundo that becomes completely invincible in the late game. Olaf and Orianna has always been a very strong combo. Doesn't feel like they have nothing to look forward to.
Exactly. I think there's a lot here that you can still work with. It's going to be kind of the Orianna that's going to opt for that late game scaler. I think we are actually having a conversation even off air, kind of saying, look, I think Mundo works really well when you've got these bit of a... Ooh, Kepler, hang on. Now, taking a bit of a shot there. But when you've got a bit more of a range advantage on your team, right? Or you're the ones that are going to be aggressing on them. But it feels like when I look towards RNG, right, there's a lot of opportunities here for Yukai to try and bypass that bot or the tank setup that you have for V5 and get access towards Kepler with, no one really able to lock him down. So I think, although you have the late game scaling here, there's still opportunities for Yukai specifically to bypass a lot of the V5 setup.
Yeah, just kind of like how RNG were cheating prior earlier on. They don't even need to cheat this time around because they can just... Or I guess instead of cheating prior, they can cheat the team fights, right? And just zip past the Yukai, try and one-shot Kepler. And a lot of this is going to be down to how well Kepler uses that killer instinct as well, right? Being able to reposition in those fights, both aggressively and defensively. The flashes forward is Uniboy. Just gets blown apart by Way. Beautiful little combo from the RNG. Mid-jungle 2v2. I never thought I'd say that sentence. Beautiful combo from the mid-jungle 2v2 from RNG.
All it took was the change, you know? Yukai setting up well, and nice job there, as he said, like Yukai setting up great with the chains. Instant flash. I loved how quickly Yukai followed up on that, being able to keep the tether range, and then you get that kill for Way. You still got the Rift Herald in your back pocket as well here, and it looks like with the pressure going towards bot side, or RNG were suspected of going up towards the top lane to try and use that Rift Herald, but it actually looks like they've reset, and V5 commit Olaf topside for no real reason. Well, that's not true. His camps are there.
Okay, well,
sorry.
Hey, at least he gets some gold.
I'm having some tech issues right now, and I'm trying to like patch it.
It's all good. We've got a solar flare on the bottom side. As RNG don't seem to be having any tech issues. They're feeling pretty good on this one. Gala's going to get himself some plates as well on this Aphelios. Just after red, but with an Infernum, it's not ideal. It'll be useful to clear the next wave, but you know what? It doesn't matter about his weapons, because guess what? There's a Rift Herald, so who cares about Aphelios' weapons? They're going to get the first tower. They're going to have themselves a, 3,000 gold lead at 12 minutes? This is more what I wanted to see from RNG in game number 1. This is my expectation of RNG versus V5.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, this is the thing for me as well is like Gala getting really strong here is amazing for RNG because who deals with Mundo? It's this Aphelios, right? You gotta go in close ranges, Mundo, so Aphelios starts to shred you when he's got those shurikens and the Severum going. And especially if you're able to get the Kraken Slayer completed, that just makes things all of the hell harder for Aliez. Now, you do have the Anathema's chains here for Mundo, so I think you just attach that to Gala and you kind of go, cool, well, this will make things a little bit easier in these fights, but you do still have to be wary of Xiaohu as he starts to progress on and how much this true damage will hurt Aliez.
Yeah, it does feel like Aphelios when you get to those later stages, will do a lot of work. But he has gone for the shield bow, so won't have that true damage to just melt Aliez. Will still be a crit carry, so he'll still, you know, be effective against the Mundo. He'll certainly be the only one on the side of RNG that is really able to deal with the Mundo. But we were having a conversation about Mundo before the broadcast today, and there is that topic of conversation that Mundo can also be a threat as opposed to just being a front line, where if he can get a 1v1 with an AD carry, you know he's going to win it. Mundo is real scary if you let him get into a good position.
Yeah, and the more on a shield bow is because you're not paired with something like the Thresh, right? Where you're able to reposition, you got a little bit more safety. The more on shield bow is that safety that the Lantern usually provides, but definitely not to the same mobility extent. I do think, though, especially in this composition, as we said already, I think Yukai going to have a really nice opportunity here to try and bypass the front line from V5. Like, what's the CC to stop this LeBlanc? I mean, maybe the Magnet Storm, but if you're using a Magnet Storm and just LeBlanc, I mean, that's a win for RNG. And it also means that, like, if you are as Kepler, because you're such a short-range AD carry, if you end up taking any sort of damage, you kind of got to back out of the fight. There's so much follow-up with the likes of the Graves ult and also Xiaohu with this needle.
Yeah, and it does feel like there's massive amounts of burst coming on through. And even the Moonlight Vigil is actually surprisingly long range. But V5 going to be the ones to get themselves the Herald, because Xiaohu is off in the bottom side. And guess what? That's 600 gold into Xiaohu's pocket, since the amount of gold did get buffed up on this patch for those tier 2s. Pressure in the mid lane as well coming out from RNG. Even taking the chickens on the bottom side of the map. Feels like RNG, sure, they lose the Herald, but they already got far more than the Herald is going to gain.
That's the thing, right? The reason that we're seeing teams kind of lay off in the Heralds a slight bit is just because you can make these cross-path plays. You overcommit as V5, well, Terror gone, Chicken's gone, mid lane turret taking some damage as well, and even if you get to trade add turret back, it's already answered plus some on RNG's side. So certainly it seems like Herald kind of used to be the be-all and end-all, and now teams are kind of going, no, we can actually just trade this more effectively if we play our cards right.
And it feels like these resets are really late now from V5 as they were having to clear waves. Drake's coming up in 30 seconds. You got to feel like maybe RNG could just... I mean, maybe they're just looking for tower instead. Forget the Drake. They're going to be able to get themselves a tier 1 in the mid lane and then go over to the Drake.
Well, I think they actually... Well, I don't want to see them try and commit to this, right? You've been sitting in the mid lane here for RNGs quite a while. The resets are better on V5's side. They've picked up the Kraken Slayer plus some, if you look at Kepler, whereas you're not really able to answer that as Gala, but RNG still hovering here, still thinking of committing to this play.
Oh, TP being channeled here by Uniboy to get involved. Xiaohu still up in the top side, does have TP available, but it's V5 with priority on towards that Drake. You're saying that you want RNG to opt out of this play. Whether or not that happens, though, is a different question. Dragon already burnt through an entire 5-man squad of V5 committed to secure that Infernal Drake. And again, we see Xiaohu off on the other side of the map getting strong on this Gwen. Again, we see a huge CS lead in favor of Xiaohu in the top side against Aliez.
Exactly. No need to fight V5 when they're strongest, right? Gourd Drinker completed, Kraken Slayer completed. Like, you're actually in a pretty good spot here as V5 in comparison to just RNG as a composition, not so much with items. So they decide instead, hey, look, we'll just take these side lanes, know that in 5 minutes time, we're going to be in a far better spot. We'll have a Zeolite complete on towards Gala. We'll have Yukai in a much better spot. Even Graves as well, who's gone this more quick build with the Gale Force and also going for the Mortal Reminder, is going to be really good at dealing with the Mundo when we get a couple of these items in our back pockets.
I could almost hear the buffering symbol on your forehead as you were trying to remember the name of the Mortal Reminder.
I was like, Execution's Call is a little...
welcome to the LPL, you a guy, I guess. He just absolutely one-shot Kepler. Kepler had flash. He just never even had a chance to use it.
I'm buffering and Kepler's 404 not found.
Yeah, wait, I guess we are having tech issues. Just a different kind here today. My goodness. Yukai. Now that's what I want to see. Hey, maybe this is a permanent substitution. It is in my mind at very least. Uniboy's in trouble now. Blast code comes on out. And Cryin is sat behind the scenes today sweating as he watches this performance from Yukai on the LeBlanc. Xiaohu threatening the all-in as well. Gets a flash out from Aliez on the bottom side of the map. RNG are just completely in control.
Yeah, that was disgusting from Yukai. Nice job. And this is what I was talking about, right? Like, in these team fights, it's really hard for Kepler to operate. You don't have a tank frontline that can really hold its own against Yukai. No, like, point-and-click CC or any real CC that can lock down this LeBlanc. So Yukai's going to be free to do this over and over again, and it's going to be difficult for V5 to deal with. And now that you bought space for RNG, look, you've got those side lanes fully in control. They can deal with this Rift Tower push in mid. And V5 are on the back foot.
Yeah, the Herald will get a charge, but that's it. Doesn't even finish a tower for V5. In fact, a tier 2 already taken in that bottom side, so you're going to see Xiaohu resetting. Does have TP available for himself. Drake going to be up in 2.5 minutes. But before that, there is a Baron. Comes onto the map in 30 seconds time, Dagda. And with how strong RNG are feeling, with a 7,000 gold lead at the 20-minute mark, it does feel like RNG are probably in position to just threaten that and make V5 contest, make V5 fight you.
Why does Gala have a serrated Dirk?
It's for the ban.
I think Gala's building
no, this is actually it's Collector. This is actually a pretty standard Aphelios build these days, where you go Collector.
I don't mind the Collector in the grand scheme of things, but like when your job is to take down a mundo, I feel like just going for that crit build is going to let you a hell of a lot more. Now, technically, I mean, if you can get the mundo below 5% health, it's probably quicker to just execute him, but I think the lethality, you're just not going to get as much use out of, especially when Reheal going to be going towards the likes of a Locket of the Iron Solari. PZX will eventually pick up. As you can see, he's already getting some armor. I feel like you instantly get more value from the armor pen when Yukai is going to delete the backline like this.
That's true. Perhaps Gala's just building kind of his standard solo queue build as opposed to tailoring that build depending on the game. Certainly will struggle versus the armor that we're already seeing starting to come through for Aliez and PZX. Both of them going to be tanky. And in fact, even Reheal as a chain vest. As a support, imagine being able to afford a chain vest on a support. Crazy days. Here we go. Engage in the mid lane. Reheal will get away. But now, we talked about it before. RNG in such a strong position. You can see pings on towards that Baron. V5 feel like they have to contest vision here, but RNG aren't even actually threatening that. They just have full vision control. They don't even have to do anything to threaten the idea of Baron, except just not showing waves.
Oh, Shockwave.
Oh, Shockwave onto 2. This is a good opportunity for V5 here. They might have caught RNG out. Ming goes for the solar flare, flashes out. Yukai goes down. There's a knock-up as well, but the Infernum is huge. And Xiaohu's on the backline. Oh no, it's all gone wrong for V5 as RNG just take over. Xiaohu has been untouched the entire time. And it's going to be an ace. It's a clean bait coming out from RNG. And if they didn't have the opportunity before, well, Baron is here now.
And it's going to be easy pickings for RNG. That fight looked like it could have gone so nicely for V5, but Kepler delivers himself disastrously into the back line, and RNG are able to clean this up. And what was already a shaky game for V5 has just completely crumbled before them.
It's an absolute disaster here for V5 as it's 8-1 on the scoreboard. Baron is going to go down as well. We were talking about how 7,000 gold was a big advantage at 20 minutes. Well, we were at 22, and it's now up to 11,000. This was started by V5.
It looked good. I actually like the play here from Uniboy. It's this though from Kepler where he goes right away too deep to try and finish off Ming, even sends the Void Missile the wrong way, and he's just left in front of Gala, who destroys him, and then eventually Aliez shows up to the party, but I mean, 1v4, what's a mundo to do?
And you know what? We were criticizing this Collector. How wrong we were. Because it turns out Kepler's going to just try 1v1 Gala. And guess what? Lethality is really going to 1v1 another 80 carries.
I mean, I was silly to think that Kepler would have tried to play a front-to-back fight with a mundo Olaf in the front line.
How foolish. How foolish. Here we go. Xiaohu going to look to get yet another kill as Aliez steps way too far forward. Ming threatening for more as PZX has to back away, surely. As the Baron's still strong on the side of RNG. 2 minutes they've got to play with that one. They already finished tier 2s in mid and bottom lane, and they want an all-in onto Reheal as well. He will crash down away from the plate. As Way now looks for Kepler, looks for a 1v1 from the jungler. And Kepler barely escapes with his life. That damage is absolutely insane from Way already in this game. They're just going to blow the mid lane open as Yukai looks for even more. Where has this RNG been all split? Where has this been, Dagda?
At the LDL. Next question. It's been Yukai
True.
the LDL.
True. Well, look, if this is how good they look with a mid lane substitution, I'm saying pull the trigger, RNG. I'm saying Yukai needs to be on this roster more often.
I mean, look, he's going pretty well. Now, he did have some missteps in the early lane phase where it was a bit questionable, like just the heavy trades we saw going in Uniboy's favor. But honestly, for a first appearance, being able to like assassinate Kepler, finding these advantages, I think in the grand scheme of things, I agree. This guy's been really good, and I'm hoping that we do get to see him just because he does play more of that meta style, right? But like, if you look at him from LDL Summer, we said like Lee Sin, Lulu, Set, Viego, all are his most played, and all either like you got 100% win rate on everything except the Set, which he's lost a single game on. Now, to be fair, it looks like they've lost 2 games the entire split, but still, I mean, it looks pretty damn positive for Yukai right now.
It really does. But, you know, it is his first game, and let's be honest, he's been given a bit of a softball here, right? They're against V5. They're against pretty much unarguably the worst team in the LPL. It's going to be a rough one for V5 regardless. So it does feel like Yukai has been given a really nice game to make his LPL debut on, and he's looking pretty good as he does it. Baron has just timed out, though. So this extended siege from RNG will finally come to a close unless they can find a fight, unless they find an opportunity to really blow the rest of this game open. Xiaohu threatening in the mid lane beyond the inhibitor with those super minions. Damage onto Reheal as well, way alongside Xiaohu as they continue to push their advantages.
They're going to go in though. Yukai's poking, prodding. They want to see if they can get in. Xiaohu's behind them.
There's Solar Flare, but it goes a little bit wide. Xiaohu is still underneath the tower. He actually gets a kill while RNG sweep up the front line. And Aliez is just left alone. And he's like, I just wanted to do business. I'm here for sales. I wasn't trained for this.
He's like underneath the tower and he's like, where do we go? RNG are everywhere. They've completely surrounded us.
Oh, Aliez just goes back to Fountain. He's just looking for his bonus, man. He wasn't here to try and fight them, and he will go down, cut to pieces just by a pair of scissors. Who would have seen it? RNG 2-0 in the end against V5. It's the expected result. It was a weirdly turbulent journey, but the expected result